No, I don't think the separation of powers is working at all. I think America has already, in normal circumstances, a very strong executive. And what we have right now is someone who is testing the bounds of that at a time when his own party is afraid to stand up to him. And he's deeply unpopular. Let's be clear, Donald Trump creates the illusion of strength and power and having the support of the American people. And he won the last election because people are mad at the Democrats over inflation and immigration. But he's underwater on every major issue.
So maybe you can start with the Supreme Court ruling. Just talk us through it and what you think it means.
Yeah. So I think the Supreme Court, one, let's be clear, did not rule on birthright citizenship, which is what Trump ultimately wanted them to do. But there was some legal maneuvering from the Trump side. Ultimately, they made it a lot harder for Democratic attorneys general to block this. But the Supreme Court left lots of avenues for it. Right now, I think in a lot of states, there's just a lot of confusion about what it means. And at this point, it feels like of the three branches of government, the executive branch being the most powerful, which is what Trump holds right now. The judicial branch is giving up a lot of power to the executive, and Congress is basically MIA at the moment. So it feels like just a lot of confusion.
In terms of that confusion, how do you see a way through it? And if there's a vacuum, will Trump just fill it with stronger decisions, perhaps?
It's entirely possible. I think he continues to feel out and touch the walls and to see if they're made of stone or if they're made of paper. And a lot more often than we thought, they're made of paper because a lot of people won't stand up to him. I mean, the Supreme Court is basically rigged. He has appointed multiple justices to the Supreme Court. And then Congress, which is run by the Republicans in the House and the Senate, are completely and totally disinterested in holding him accountable. So I think he's going to continue to see what he can get away with.
Court packing, of course, is something that so many presidents have done over the years. Is the separation of powers working at the moment, do you think?
No, I don't think the separation of powers is working at all. I think America has already, in normal circumstances, a very strong executive. And what we have right now is someone who is testing the bounds of that at a time when his own party is afraid to stand up to him. And he's deeply unpopular. Let's be clear, Donald Trump creates the illusion of strength and power and having the support of the American people. And he won the last election because people are mad at the Democrats over inflation and immigration. But he's underwater on every major issue. His approval rating is in the low 40s. He's underwater on even his best issues, which are typically the economy and immigration. He's negative 22 points I've seen in recent polling on the tariffs. He's negative 14 points on immigration because people are frustrated with how he's handled Los Angeles. So I think what we need is to create a situation where there's enough public groundswell where Congress will start to hold him accountable, because pretty clearly the Supreme Court isn't going to do it.
Donald Trump as well has announced he's ending trade talks with Canada. Why is he doing that, and what impact do you think that will have?
Well, I think Trump is just trying to throw wild swings. Let's be clear about that. If you look at the last couple of weeks, it's been probably some of the most newsworthy in the last couple of weeks, starting with him getting attacked by Elon Musk, leading into the situation in Los Angeles that he decided to escalate unnecessarily, leading right into Iran, which has dominated the headlines for the last 7 to 10 days. So I think more than anything, Trump is seeing a weakness and breaks in his coalition. And you're seeing more and more folks from the MAGA right start to speak out about some of the things that Donald Trump is doing. So Steve Bannon is speaking out about the budget. You had a lot of folks speaking out about the Iran war. Tucker Carlson, in particular, was out in front. So I think he's going to be taking more wild swings. And some of those swings are going to be about distracting the American people. So that's why he was attacking Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen a couple weeks ago, because he just wants to generate headlines. And then you're going to see him just try to show the American people some strength. So I think with Canada, more often than not, he's just more likely than not, he is just trying to stir up some controversy. And I'm assuming it's not going to lead to very much. It'll probably be a little bit of short-term pain or discontent, but he usually folds.
I mean, he has called this a direct and blatant attack on our country in regard to what he sees as unfair taxes on US technology companies. Has he got a point?
I think he has a point on manufacturing in particular, that on manufacturing, we've allowed a lot of jobs to be taken out of the United States that America does get taken advantage of, but he's gone about it the wrong way. If you want to win a trade war, if you want to win any war, you have to have allies. And immediately what Donald Trump did almost on day one was started attacking and targeting Canada and Mexico, our neighbors to the north and our neighbors to the south. So instead of trying to bring this continent together with our closest allies, we're working with Europe and trying to bring everybody together to hold China accountable, because China is the biggest one who's taking advantage of America right now, I would argue. He's decided to just sort of lash out at everybody without any cohesive strategy, without any thought. And it's incredibly frustrating because at the end of the day, everything's more expensive in the United States right now. Grocery prices are more expensive. Housing is more expensive because of the tariffs, because of lumber prices from Canada. So it's just a disaster, and the American consumer is getting crushed. Meanwhile, Donald Trump promised all these great, amazing deals that we were going to have in like, 50 days. And we don't really have any deals right now.
Donald Trump is clearly a unique politician. He's brought a different form of politics to America. There is a New York politician who's doing the same from the left. Tell us about Zoran Mandami.
Well, let's start with, I want to answer that part on Trump for a second, because I think what he's great at is he's great at finding the people who have been left out in the system, who feel like their economic grievances and have not been put at the center of a political movement, and get a lot of people behind him. Zoran in New York City is doing the same thing, right? A lot of young millennials who are getting squeezed in this economy, who don't see a path to buy a house, who don't see a path to retire with dignity. They're frustrated with the establishment, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, because they're getting left behind. So he's put their issues at the center of his movement and then articulated a very clear path for them to try to solve them in New York City. Now, whether or not he's going to win the general election, I don't know. I think it's going to be really difficult for him. But what I do know is he's a really talented young man. He's a very, very well-polished politician, incredibly articulate, really good at like building community, which is hard to do. The endorsement that he got from New York City Comptroller Brad Lander was critical. And in New York City, the ranked choice voting, which is a little bit different than the way most American elections are run, requires you to build coalitions. And to me, it showed a lot of savvy for Zoran. So it's going to be interesting to see how the general election plays out. And then if he wins, what kind of mayor he's going to be.
How realistic is his platform? He's talked about things like free public buses, city-run grocery shops, that kind of approach that some may find very popular, some might find very attractive, but is it practical?
I mean, I think some of it's practical. It's going to be a question of what can he do to work with the New York City Council, to work with the New York State government to try to get some of this stuff done. And so I think it's going to be a question of like, how does he build coalitions? And we're seeing some of that right now, because the establishment in New York City is a little bit uncomfortable with Zoran winning the primary. They probably would have preferred Cuomo or somebody else in the race. So you have a lot of folks who he's meeting with right now, and he's trying to win them over. So if they get the sense that they can work with him, and if he can be somebody that they can compromise with and try to get a little bit of progress done, I think that'll be good. And if he can continue to keep his coalition together, it becomes powerful. Even if he can't freeze the rent tomorrow or make city buses free tomorrow or the day that he becomes mayor, if he can start to make progress towards some of that stuff and people can feel like, hey, at least there's somebody in City Hall who's fighting for me, I think he's going to be able to keep that coalition together. He's going to be able to get some stuff done, assuming he's able to do that.
In terms of the coalition, I mean, he's nothing if not a disruptor in a very different way to Donald Trump, of course. But I just wonder how the establishment, the Chuck Schumers of this world, are reacting.
Well, I think you just see a lot of folks who are curious about what type of mayor he's going to be and what type of candidate he's going to be. But keep in mind, like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, both Democratic leaders, both from New York, they did not endorse in this race. They didn't endorse Andrew Cuomo. They didn't get behind him. So I think they're letting the people of New York City make this decision for them, which I think is wise strategically for them. And so what Zoran needs to do is go reach out to Chuck Schumer, go reach out to Hakeem Jeffries, make sure that they know he's somebody that they can work with, build that coalition. Otherwise, you get this fractured situation where Andrew Cuomo is thinking about running as an independent candidate in the general election. Mayor Adams is already running in the general election. You could have a four-way between those two, Mandani, and then the Republican candidate, who is basically, in my opinion, a lunatic. And so I think it could be like a very messy race, or you might see some jockeying where they start, circling around each other. So there's a question of, does the Democratic establishment stay on the sidelines because they just don't want to get involved with it? Do they start to go with Zoran because they're worried that Adams, who is basically a crook and in league with Donald Trump right now, wins re-election? Are they worried about Cuomo coming back and what that means? There's a lot of just like sort of hanging issues that we're going to get a sense of in the next couple of weeks, depending upon how these conversations go.